Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Shawn Thompson, spiritual counselor and psychic medium, owner of Inner Healing, and the creator of the truly healing program called Words Left Unspoken, healing your heart through compassion, understanding, and love. So today I am joined by Marisa. She has been so gracious to share her experience during our reading and our connection together. Welcome, Marisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Shawn. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I would love to just go ahead and start off with you sharing a little bit about what your belief system was prior to us meeting regarding mediumship. We also did a soul chart together, working with the numerology and astrology overview. So share with the listeners what your belief system was prior to us meeting around mediumship.
In the past, my views were that only special people had that gift and that not anybody could commute to the other side or communicate to the other side. As well, I also thought that heaven was way out there. And so only special people with gifts, could in tune to that. And the rest of us just had to wait till we passed on to go to the other side to, finish words that were left unsaid, things that were loose ends that needed to clear up, forgiveness that needed to happen, all of that. And the regret I carried for decades, the regret, the shame, the guilt, because I had no concept that my loved ones were actually really an integral part of my life every day.
You and a lot of other people feel like they would have to come to a medium to connect, or that it's impossible to connect to begin with. But I like to share with people, when you sit in prayer and you're saying your prayers, whether it be to God, spirit, or you're calling in the angels for support, your loved ones are there with them. So why wouldn't they be able to hear you as well? And a lot of people do feel that you have to be gifted, or it runs in your family, or you're born with it to be able to communicate. But I have a really powerful program called Mediumship Unveiled. It's actually a 30-day course that teaches you how to connect across the veil. Now, of course, I always want someone to come to me. I love being the voice, but I love to empower people to be able to learn how to do it on their own, and you can certainly do that. So when you scheduled that reading with me, I know your intention was to connect with someone who had been dear to your heart for a very long time, and you had been struggling for quite some time in releasing that to be able to move forward. I'd love for you to share how that session helped you to be able to heal your heart, to consider moving forward, to get some of those questions answered that had been just left there on the table. Please share with us how it helped you.
Well, I had been to multiple mediums in the past 5 years, and I was always left with doubt. Not that I was doubting what they were saying, but I wasn't getting to the root of what was really bothering me. I couldn't get those questions answered. Mm-hmm. And I gravitated to you because your course is called Words Left Unsaid, which is exactly what had happened between him and I. And I thought, if anybody gets this, it has to be you. And I've asked multiple mediums the direct questions, and you gave an answer that nobody else would know, that was so validating. It finally put to rest for me. It finally gave me the peace that the person that I wanted to communicate with saw some of the dynamics that were happening that maybe he wasn't aware of at the time. Mm-hmm. And he took he acknowledged, I wouldn't say took responsibility, he acknowledged it, just like I acknowledged my part. In no way was it his fault or my fault, but there was an acknowledgement there that gave me so much peace that I was finally able to put 23 years of grief, regret, shame, and guilt to rest.
Yeah, that's powerful what you have to say. And I want to stress that readings are really about asking those questions that can promote and provide healing deep within the soul, within the heart. They're not really about asking testing questions like, what was my dog's name? What was the last thing he said to me before he left? You already know those answers, and not that they're not valid, and not that your heart doesn't want to make sure it's your loved one coming through. But I can guarantee you in the readings, you're going to feel your loved one. You're going to feel their spirit, their soul, their love for you. You're going to sense their personality that comes through. So I love that you asked very powerful and meaningful questions that were going to help you move forward versus testing questions, for myself, because that makes my job harder. So I'm glad that you were able to get those answers that you needed moving forward. So I'm really grateful for that. So moving on
Yeah,
to,
I'm at a space now where sorry, I was going to say, I'm at a space now that after seeing you, I don't ever need to see another medium again. And I had been to 20, 30 mediums.
thank you for that. And I'm so grateful to be able to help you with that. That truly is part of my purpose here. So um, when you would like to, tell me some advice you would like to share with others who are grieving, perhaps grieving for a very long time, having to deal with recent grief, complicated grief. What kind of advice would you give them as far as being willing to help themselves?
The first thing I would probably say is one, reach out and get help. And even if it's within your belief systems at the time, start the process of being able to receive and accept help. Because I went through an avenue that had nothing to do with mediumship, but that's how it started for me 5 years ago, going through a life coach, trying to fix my life. But really, as I got more and more information, started to change my belief systems, I really started to understand that the avenue that I started with led me to the avenue that I needed to be with. So if you don't believe in mediumship right away and you have a hard time grasping that, I grew up Roman Catholic, so it was a stretch for me,
Me
to jump
too.
from how I started to where I am now. I don't expect you to make that leap, but I do expect you to start reaching out to help. And what resonates with you, follow the crumbs, because it will lead you eventually to the right path, because you'll start to realize that, hey, what I was taught and what I know maybe doesn't work for me and maybe is holding me back from the healing that needs to happen. And once you start to change your belief systems and you start reaching out to things that you might have thought were a little out there before, you know, test those waters, go into the unknown a little bit, and trust that whether you think it's God, the universe, source energy, however you want to define that, has your back and is leading you in the right direction. That's what I would say.
That is so very true. So very true. And I think there's a component of the life coaching, the grief counseling that is very valuable. And I think
Yep.
the component of connecting with your loved one across the veil through mediumship is so extremely healing. And when you marry the two, such as in my program, Words Left Unspoken, you do heal on profound levels. And not everyone
Mhm.
needs a whole program. Some people just need one session to heal an aspect that they've been holding on to. Others do need a program, and combining the two, this program touches upon all the aspects that you just said. So thank you. I think the main priority is that you help yourself regardless. You know what you need deep inside, and time's not going to necessarily heal the grief. You said it was what, 23 years that you held on to
20,
that, right? Yeah.
23 years where I held on to certain components that I could not let go of. The anger, I could go on, but yeah, 23 years. Meeting
Yeah.
you changed everything.
Thank you. Well, and that just goes to show that time doesn't heal it. You have to be an active participant. Now, please shed a little light, share your insight about the financial investment as far as whether it be a program, whether it be a single reading, whether you combine it with a soul chart to see what's moving forward for you. What is your opinion about the financial investment in helping yourself through either a course like this or a single reading?
I think that you can't afford not to. The reason why that is I had disclosed this before to you previously. I had spent over $20,000 on grief counseling, on piecemealing, life coaching, mediumship, all this stuff. And yes, I got to a certain level of healing, and yes, you were able to complete that. But believe me, the amount of money that I spent on food addiction, on
Yes.
unhealthy lifestyle, on misery, you can't put a dollar value on that. So to me, I know your comprehensive program. Like I told you, I wish I would have met you like 5 years ago,
Mhm.
because you put it all together, and I spent way more money than what you are charging for your comprehensive program. I don't regret the money I spent. I just wish I would have got to it faster than I did.
Mm.
I can't say it enough, because I have been completely set free, and I'm finally happy in my life. I'm
Mm.
finally waking up every day grateful, and you can't put a dollar value on it. Whereas a couple of years ago, I was waking up going, okay, that's one more day off the books, and it's one more day till I'm with my loved ones. And I was just waiting to pass so that I could be with them. Now I actually live my life, enjoy my life, and like spending time on this earth, and I'm living and living and enjoying what I have. Can't put a dollar value on that. It's worth the money. I can't say it enough to people.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think you're absolutely right. The goal is for you to smile again, for you to live the life out that you came here to live, and your loved ones want nothing more than to help you do that. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with before we part our ways? Any words of advice or any recommendations that you would make?
For anybody, uh, for anybody that has been in my situation, that has um, carried grief because of loss of a loved one in for whatever circumstance, please consider Sean's program. Please consider going on her website. And if it's something that you need some time to process that information, to accept some of the values that she has, follow her on all the social media outlets, YouTube, Instagram, and start watching her videos, and start being open-minded to the concepts that she's sharing for free,
Mhm.
and look into investing. Make the investment, find a way to find the resources to make that investment to heal yourselves, because money's money, but
Mhm.
living your life with freedom, that's priceless.
I couldn't have said it any better, Marissa. So thank you so much for joining and sharing your thoughts and opinions and your healing experience. I wish the best for you, and I hope to be working with you in some capacity moving forward at some point. So thank you.
Oh no, thank you, Sean, for what you do.
Absolutely. You take care.
Thank you.